Every global recession follows the same pattern. Plenty, then panic, then collapse. But nearly 4,000 years ago, one man predicted a total economic disaster before it happened. He didn't just survive it, he turned it into power. His name was Joseph, and his strategy is still used by governments, banks, and billionaires today. Joseph's humble beginning. Joseph was not born into wealth. He was the son of a shepherd, the youngest in a large family. In a world where inheritance determined destiny, Joseph had none of it. He owned no land, no title, no leverage. Even inside his own household, he was an outsider, resented, mocked, isolated. His brothers didn't just dislike him. They saw him as a threat to inheritance, to attention, to power. So they betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and removed him from the family record. In ancient terms, this wasn't punishment. It was erasure. But adversity has a pattern of its own. It compresses perspective. It sharpens awareness. It forces adaptation. Joseph's early suffering trained him to observe, to listen, to understand systems from the bottom up. History often credits success to privilege. Joseph proves the opposite. Sometimes, economic intelligence is forged where comfort does not exist, from slave to strategist. Joseph was taken to Egypt and sold as property. No money, no status, no protection. But what Joseph lacked in freedom, he compensated for with awareness. As a servant, he watched how households functioned, how resources were stored, how authority flowed downward, how trust translated into control. He learned that power is rarely loud. It is quiet, structured, procedural. Even in captivity, Joseph gained influence through reliability. Then came the fall, false accusations, political convenience, prison. For most people, this would have been the end. For Joseph, it became advanced training. Prison taught him scarcity, limited resources, strict rationing, high tension. He learned how people behave when hope is restricted, when food is controlled, when time itself feels expensive. Joseph didn't rebel. He studied, and unknowingly, he was preparing for the greatest economic test in recorded history. The moment that changed history. Egypt's pharaoh began having dreams, disturbing dreams, unsettling dreams, dreams no one could interpret. 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine. This wasn't mysticism, it was early economic forecasting. Joseph was summoned. He didn't panic, he didn't posture, he didn't exaggerate, he analyzed. But what separated Joseph from every other advisor was this: he didn't stop at interpretation. He translated insight into action. He explained the risk, then presented a solution, a complete policy framework. Most people can identify danger. Very few can design survival. Joseph did both, and in that moment, he shifted from prisoner to strategist, from observer to architect. Pharaoh didn't hear prophecy, he heard competence, and competence is the rarest currency in times of uncertainty. The first recorded economic master plan. Joseph told Pharaoh exactly what to do. Store surplus grain during the years of abundance, centralize storage, standardize collection, record inventory, control distribution instead of reacting to chaos, and when famine arrives, sell grain back to the people. Not give it away. Sell it. This wasn't cruelty, it was sustainability. Free distribution collapses systems. Controlled pricing preserves them. Joseph understood that incentives matter. Scarcity without structure leads to revolt. Structure without emotion leads to stability. What Joseph designed was not emergency relief. It was economic continuity. This was the first national reserve system, the first centralized food authority, the first recession-proofing strategy ever recorded. Pharaoh understood instantly. Joseph wasn't just predicting the future, he was engineering it, the rise to power. Pharaoh appointed Joseph as second in command over all Egypt. No election, no lineage, no political theater, only capability. Joseph didn't inherit authority. He earned it by solving a problem no one else could even define. He now controlled food supply, distribution systems, national reserves. In modern terms, Joseph became finance minister, central bank governor, and economic advisor at the same time. Every ration passed through him. Every transaction flowed upward. Every survival decision had his signature. But Joseph didn't seize power. Power was handed to him because the system depended on him. That distinction matters. Authority earned through necessity is more durable than authority claimed by force. People obeyed Joseph not because they feared him, but because the alternative was collapse. Joseph became indispensable, and in economic systems, indispensability is the highest rank anyone can achieve. Why Joseph's system worked. Joseph understood something timeless. Abundance creates waste. Scarcity demands discipline. Most societies fail because they confuse prosperity for permanence. Joseph didn't. He treated abundance as a temporary window, a moment to prepare, not to indulge. By storing surplus centrally, Egypt avoided panic. There was no scramble, no hoarding, no violent competition. While surrounding nations collapsed, Egypt remained functional, predictable, organized. That stability mattered. Foreign nations arrived desperate, and Egypt became the supplier. Food turned into leverage. Egypt accumulated money, then land, then political influence. Recession didn't weaken Egypt, it strengthened it. Because Joseph understood that survival isn't random, it's designed. The controversial part of Joseph's strategy. As famine worsened, people ran out of money, so they paid with livestock, then land. Eventually, they offered themselves as labor. Egypt emerged owning the land, the food, the workforce. This wasn't accidental, it was structural. Joseph didn't improvise. He followed a consolidation model built into the system itself. And this is why the strategy feels uncomfortable, because it exposes how power actually accumulates during crisis. Crises don't destroy systems. They reveal who controls them. Joseph didn't create desperation. He managed it. He converted chaos into order, and order into centralized authority. This is how empires form, quietly, legally, systematically. The discomfort isn't moral outrage, it's recognition. The modern parallels. This strategy still exists. Governments build reserves, banks tighten credit, corporations buy assets cheaply. Nothing about this is new. Recessions transfer wealth. Not evenly, not fairly. From the unprepared to the prepared. From the reactive to the strategic. Joseph didn't fear collapse. He positioned for it. He understood that downturns are not accidents. They are filters. They remove weak structures and reward disciplined ones. That principle has never changed. Skill creates access, but integrity determines duration. Without character, every system eventually collapses. Joseph proved something powerful. Recessions don't create winners. Preparation does. If you want to learn how ancient strategies still shape modern wealth, subscribe to Kings, Empires, and Billionaires, because history always rewards those who plan ahead.